Hello and welcome back to That's English.
Today's episode of Cafe 27 is about science, inventions and discoveries.
I loved science classes at school. I remember one day we were mixing some chemicals in the laboratory when boom!
I hope the students in the episode behave better than you, Ashley. Now, here's our question.
What are the different Nobel Prizes?
What are the different Nobel Prizes?
Hello.
Hi, Claire.
Hello. Can I have a large cup of coffee to take away, please?
Of course. You okay?
I'm fine. I'm just taking a group of students to the museum today and I'm a bit worried about it. They all think science is boring.
Well, have you ever visited the museum before?
No, I've never been. Haven't been on a school trip for years.
Don't worry, it'll be fine.
Yeah. That's £2.50.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, has anyone visited the Faraday Museum before?
No, but I've been to the Science Museum.
What about you, Kate, Lucy?
No. I went to a natural history museum when I was a kid. It was really, really boring.
Yes, well, I'm sure this museum isn't boring at all. Have you read your handouts?
Yes.
No. Yeah, I have.
Well, this is the Faraday Museum at the Royal Institution of Great Britain. It's called the Faraday Museum because the famous scientist Michael Faraday used to work here. He discovered electromagnetic rotations.
Who are they?
Not who, what. Electromagnetism makes motors work. Lots of machines and gadgets use electric motors.
Has this got an electric motor in it?
No, but it has got a battery, and batteries provide electricity. Anyway, for over 2 centuries, scientists have met and worked in this building, and they've discovered and developed all sorts of things. 14 Nobel Prize winners have worked in this place. Have you heard of Alfred Nobel and the Nobel Prize?
Did he invent dynamite?
That's right. He invented dynamite in 1867, and he started a business that used to make it and sell it all over the world. In 1895, with the money he was earning, he started to give prizes for science, medicine and literature, and since 1968 there is also a prize for economic sciences.
Isn't there a Nobel Peace Prize as well?
Yes, there is.
Didn't Nelson Mandela win it?
Yes, he did. Why don't we go in?
I didn't know Alfred Nobel invented dynamite.
That's right, Ashley. But today, people remember him for the prizes. So, did you answer the question?
What are the different Nobel Prizes?
In 1895, with the money he was earning, he started to give prizes for science, medicine and literature, and since 1968 there is also a prize for economic sciences.
Isn't there a Nobel Peace Prize as well?
Yes, there is.
So, the Nobel Prizes are for science, medicine, economics, literature
And peace. OK, in the episode, we saw people describing past events. Watch again.
I went to a natural history museum when I was a kid. It was really, really boring.
He discovered electromagnetic rotations.
Remember, when we talk about actions completed in the past, we use the past simple. For example, I went to the Science Museum when I was at school.
For questions and short answers, we use did, and the negative form is didn't. Watch.
Did he invent dynamite?
That's right.
Did you like the Science Museum, Annabelle?
No, I didn't. People also talked about events and actions that started in the past but continue into the present. Watch again.
Anyway, For over 2 centuries, scientists have met and worked in this building, and they've discovered and developed all sorts of things.
Remember, we use the present perfect to talk about events or actions that start in the past but continue into the present. Scientists have met and worked in the Faraday Museum for 200 years.
Es decir, que los científicos se siguen reuniendo ahí desde hace 200 años. We also use the present perfect to talk about actions that happen at an unspecified time in the past. Es un momento sin determinar del pasado. Watch again.
Well, have you ever visited the museum before?
No, I've never been. Haven't been on a school trip for years.
Remember, for questions and short answers, we use have. And for the negative, haven't. Watch.
Have you read your handouts?
Yes.
Yeah, I have.
Have you ever visited the Science Museum, Ashley?
No, I've never visited the Science Museum. Nathan, have you ever been to the Science Museum?
Yeah, I've been to all the museums in London. When I was a student, I went to a different museum every week.
Well, before we see what our students do at the museum, here's our question. What did Bill and Laura used to do before the invention of the internet?
What did Bill and Laura used to do before the invention of the internet?
Was Faraday a scientist or an inventor?
He was both. While he worked at the Royal Institution, he invented lots of things. While he was studying chemistry and physics here, he worked with lots of other scientists and inventors.
Who was Humphrey Davy?
He was the professor of chemistry at the Royal Institution, and he discovered sodium and 8 other elements while he was studying here.
Did he find anything else? What other discoveries did he make?
Oh, yes. He was famous for all sorts of innovations and scientific discoveries.
Okay, so what interesting facts have you learned about science and inventions?
Before Faraday, people didn't understand the connection between magnetism and electricity.
Nowadays, we have electric motors, generators, batteries, cars, computers, and it's all because of Faraday.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, people used to cook on fires and there were no electric lights.
But when Faraday was working here in this building, he discovered how to make electricity using magnets. Brilliant! When I was a kid, we always used to go on school trips to the theatre or farms.
Yes. Nowadays, kids don't need to go on trips. They use the internet.
I mean, what did people used to do before the internet was invented?
I used to go to the library.
I never used to go to the library. I can't remember what I used to do.
You used to ask me. And then I went to the library for you. I'm glad Tim Berners-Lee invented the internet for you.
Me too. Before the internet, I didn't used to know anything.
Hi, Claire. How did it go?
Well, we went to the museum on the tube and the students were talking about pop groups, movie stars and celebrities, not science.
Oh dear.
And then we got to the museum and they were standing around outside looking really bored and being a bit silly.
Typical.
But then we went in and you know what? The students were really interested. They were reading about science. They had a fantastic time. It was brilliant.
Wow, wow.
On the way home, they all talked about inventors, discoveries and scientists. They used to think that science was boring. but now they think science is cool.
Do you want a cup of tea to celebrate?
Ooh.
You see, science isn't boring and the students had a good time.
So, did you answer the question?
What did Bill and Laura used to do before the invention of the internet?
I used to go to the library.
I never used to go to the library. I can't remember what I used to do.
Bill used to go to the library, but Laura can't remember what she used to do.
I can't remember what we used to do before we had mobile phones.
We used to call people from red telephone boxes in the street.
In the second part of the episode, we also saw people talk about actions and events in the past. Watch again.
Well, we went to the museum on the tube and the students were talking about pop groups, movie stars and celebrities, not science.
Oh dear.
And then we got to the museum and they were standing around outside looking really bored and being a bit silly.
Remember, when actions happen over a period of time in the past, we can use the past continuous. Ashley?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
Because you were playing on your mobile phone. We often use the past continuous with while or when to describe the situation or the time when something happened. Watch again.
While he was studying chemistry and physics here, he worked with lots of other scientists and inventors.
While Faraday was working at the Royal Institution, he invented lots of things.
People also talked about past habits and routines. For example, Bill used to go to the library, but Laura can't remember what she used to do. Watch again.
It's called the Faraday Museum because the famous scientist Michael Faraday used to work here.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, people used to cook on fires and there were no electric lights.
We often use used to talk about routines in the past. For example, before mobile phones existed, we used to call people from phone boxes.
And we used to listen to people when they were talking.
Annabelle, I didn't used to play on my mobile phone.
That's because you didn't used to have one, Ashley.
Yes. So, we asked some people, what inventions and technical advances do you want to see?
But the micro-robots, definitely.
I'm really a bad typist, so I would wish we had better voice recognition, so I would not have to type again, ever.
Oh, I know. Perhaps like clothes that are warm enough, but you don't have to keep wearing like 5 different layers. I think that would be nice. You know, it kind of adjusts to the climate.
Maybe faster travel would be nice, to go to more destinations.
I would like to see a lot of more things on the web, a lot more things on the internet, and that reflecting a lot of things that we have in the physical world.
Better public transport, more frequent.
Well, I quite like the idea of flying cars maybe one day.
A lot of people want to see technical advances in transport so they can travel faster.
Yes, one boy even talked about flying cars, but I think that's a bit unrealistic.
Well, people thought Faraday's ideas were unrealistic too, Ashley, and now we can't live without them. Anyway, see you next time.
Bye.